everyone. Now this week's recipe is going to be something sweet for you sweet tooth people out there. This is my Gula Melaka Creme caramel. Now basically it is it's a Malaysian version of a creme caramel, and I learnt this while I was filming a show with fried chilies in Malaysia. Now we're using natural palm sugar. So this is the Gula Melaka, and basically this is our very dark palm sugar straight practically from the tree, and it tastes like caramel, so you can even eat it. It's amazing. So you can eat it like a sweet. Now I'm going to use this to go actually in my custard mixture. Now I've got some full fat milk. Okay, we want it to be nice and creamy. We're going to heat this up just until it's warm, not boiling. So we're just going to heat it very gently. Now I've got my palm sugar, that's going straight in, and I'll put all the quantities up on my recipe for you. So just look in the description box and there'll be a link straight to the recipe. And I'm going to use a little touch of vanilla. This is vanilla extract, so try and get some like really good quality vanilla. It makes such a difference. You could even use the pod of vanilla if you've got it. I don't have one, so anyway. Right, I'm going to heat this up really slowly, just until the sugar's melted. Now to make the caramel part, I'm using more of the Gula Melaka, or palm sugar, straight into a saucepan with about 2 tablespoons of some white sugar, okay, and a couple of tablespoons of water, and we're going to boil that up until everything has melted together. Now while the sugar is melting, get yourself some ramekins and a large tray, which later on you're going to fill with some water. Once the sugar has melted, just pour a little bit into the bottom of each ramekin, and then we're going to leave it for about 10 minutes until it goes slightly hard. Next, we're going to finish up the custard. I'm going to crack 4 large eggs in a bowl. Whisk these together. Slowly pour your warm milk with its melted sugar, or palm sugar, into the egg mixture and just whisk together. You have to be careful that it is warm, because if it's too hot, it's just going to scramble your eggs. That is the custard done. That's pretty easy, really. Now I'm going to pour the custard back into a jug, which means it's going to be easier to pour into your ramekins. And I'm going to pour it through a sieve so that it kind of catches any like big bits of egg or anything like that could be in there. Any lumps or bumps, let's get them out. Look at me making a big mess. That's all right. Get your custard and pour it very slowly and gently on top of the caramel, and just keep going until you've filled up each ramekin. And if you don't want any of the foamy stuff on top, literally just use your spoon as a bit of a barrier so it doesn't kind of come out there. Depends how much of a perfectionist you are. It's nearly ready to go in the oven. One last bit. I've got a jug of, this is fairly hot water. It's not boiling, it's just from the tap hot water. And I'm going to fill up the tray until it comes about halfway up the pots. And this basically helps it when it cooks, so that it cooks nice and evenly and it doesn't basically scramble the eggs. So now this goes into the oven for about 25 minutes, half an hour, until basically there's just a really little wobble in them. Once the custards are cooked, you need to take them out of the oven, leave them to cool, and then it's best to pop them in the fridge overnight so that they're completely chilled. So this is something to make the day before. So it's the next day. Just kidding, it's not. I'm still in the same clothes. Now here is one I prepared earlier. Now the tricky part is always getting these creme caramels out of the pot without it breaking. So a few little tips. Pop it into a bowl of hot water, You're gonna leave it there now for about 10 seconds. Now while it's in the bowl, I also get a sharp knife and you can carefully run it around the edges of the creme caramel. And I can already feel it's not sticking. Another good tip actually is you can always butter the insides of the dishes before you put the custard in. Now I always like to get my plate, put it on top of the bowl, of the ramekin, and then in one sweep, in one clean sweep, and a bit of a knock on the top, it's gonna come out. No, it's not. Okay, so if this happens, don't worry, never fear. A few more taps. Oh! And there we go. It just plopped out. Fantastic. So there, I'm very happy it came out of its little pot. And as you can see, it's got the caramel on top there, and it's got all the yummy sauce from that beautiful palm sugar that you used. And I'm gonna have a taste. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. So, so good. I love anything custardy and with that caramel on there. It's such a good combination. Whoever invented this recipe, I love you. Now, I hope you really enjoy making this. Please leave me your comments, and if you haven't already, subscribe, because you're going to get all these amazing recipes sent to you every single week. Now, tune in again next Wednesday for another recipe.